launch event of the new website from Trade Guider, Gibraltar Limited. It's called Trade to Win, and it's one of the first websites that the late Tom Williams bought over 35 years ago. In fact, it wasn't 35 years. He was started the company 35 years ago, but when the internet started, really in the early 2000s, Tom had the foresight to buy this website, and we're using it now with a new package aimed at the mass market. And in fact, already we've had several hundred people without an official launch actually downloading and using this product. So this is a mass market product. There are 50 million users of TradingView, and this particular platform that we're supporting right now is the one I'm using. I'm going to show you today. It's the one that we use in our live trading room. So let me introduce myself first for those of you listening on YouTube right now and listening wherever you are in the world. My name is Gavin Holmes. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Trade Guider Systems International and the Managing Director of Trade Guider Systems Gibraltar Limited. I'm also the head trader at Wyckoff Williams, which is our asset management division, again, which is based in Gibraltar. And I'll talk a little bit about that later because it's a private fund. It's not available to the public at the moment, but that's going to all change early part of next year. So I'm joined today by a good friend of mine and actually someone who I talk to trade and I know who's left the medical profession and now is trading in at full-time. Dr. Aram Kiani, who's in London. I'm broadcasting from the New Forest National Park, as I'll explain it in a minute. So would you all welcome, please, Dr. Aram Kiani. Aram, welcome. Just say hello to everyone.
Yeah, hello, everyone. I'm just here in the webinar and enjoying Gavin's voice. And let's have a good session today, hopefully.
Yeah, if you like my voice, I'm available for voiceovers, £500 an hour. No, sorry. No. So anyway, let's get going because we've got lots to go through in a little time. So let's start with the email that I sent out yesterday because it's had quite an interesting response. Now, a few years ago when I was in Chicago, I was living in Chicago, back in 2011, I think it was, I did a webinar, which is on YouTube still actually. And gold was trading around 1900 at the time. I believe it was in September, October. And I did a YouTube video about the impending decline in gold based on a signal in the software called potential hidden selling. We have that in the software on a monthly chart. It was the same month that Goldman Sachs and some of the JP Morgan, some of the big banks came out and said gold is going to $2,500. And as soon as they said it the month before, gold went up very quickly. And a lot of people started to buy. And I knew something was definitely wrong when I flew to Frankfurt Airport to go and buy, I was in the airport, I went to go and buy a Pepsi Cola. And right next door to the vending machine was a gold bar vending machine with little gold bars. Become a gold bug, it said in German, because my translator was with me. I said, what are you talking about? He said, oh, yes. Have you not heard, Gavin? Gold's going to 2,500. I said, oh, no, it's not. He looked very upset. He said, well, I have 5 of these bars. I said, they'll be, this time next year, they won't be worth that much. He says, how do you know? I said, oh, I read supply and demand. And he looked at me completely blankly. I said, you're taking me to this seminar. It's all about supply and demand. And they're supplying gold. They're supplying the public who are rushing in to buy. They're selling to them. He laughed. Are you English? I said, I'm not joking. A bit the same as when I said British Petroleum was going to double in value in 6 months after they said we cannot cap the well. I wasn't joking. I don't joke. I'm an ex-policeman. So how could I possibly know this stuff? Well, when gold fell to 1,700 a few months later, and all the poor longs got stopped, even funds that had bought got caught. I was sitting in the office early one morning in Chicago. We shared an office with Infinity Futures, which have now been bought out by Ninja Trader, who I work with. And the phone rang. And it was a guy from New York. And he said, is that Gavin Holmes, the guy from YouTube? I said, yeah, that's me. He said, I just watched your video on gold from two or 3 months back. I said, oh yeah. I said, I had a lot of comments about that when I said it. And when I told people gold was going down, did you see all the abusive comments? They've been removed now. He said, no, there's still some there. He said, where's it going to go? And just jokingly, I said, hold on a second. I'm just going to open my drawer. Just one second. I'm just going to get my crystal ball. And I put it on the table. He went, what? And he started, paused. You use a crystal ball? And because I'm British sense of humour, I thought, no, I'm joking, mate. No. And because then I realised he thought I was serious. I thought, if that gets on the internet, Gavin Holmes, who now lives in Burley in New Forest, uses a crystal ball to trade, that's going to ruin my reputation. Having said that, I don't use a crystal ball, by the way. I'm a chart reader. But what is interesting is after that, many years after that, I was born in the New Forest National Park. And I was born within 3 miles of where I'm currently living. I'm living in a farmhouse, big farmhouse, in the middle of the forest. And what is this forest famous for? He mentioned the crystal ball. It's famous for witches. And I did want to put in the email that we were going to send out, but actually I'm not allowed to say it. My business partner won't allow me to talk about my wife, but I'm joking. But this is a true story. The place I live is very, very famous for witches, specifically Sybil, who was here in the 1950s and used to walk around the village of Burley and with a jackdaw, which is like a crow, on her shoulder. Very famous. She was what they call a white witch, so it wasn't any black witchcraft or anything. But anyway, it is famous, and this is actually in my village. This shop is called Coven of Witches. It's just down the road from me. I pass it every morning when I go and get the bread, and it is actually very famous. So I thought yesterday when I was going to send the email out, having predicted this big move in the markets on Thursday and the collapse in gold, I thought, well, actually, I remember that comment. It always stuck with me when the guy said, have you got a crystal ball? And of course I haven't. But what I have got is knowledge, and knowledge is power. And once you have knowledge, as Tom said to me, I'm going to teach you to trade. And I talk about Tom. It's the late Tom Williams who invented volume spread analysis. And it's based on the original teachings of Richard D. Wyckoff. And Wyckoff was very, very famous back in his day, because what Wyckoff was able to see was the tape or read it, which is what we do. Now, some of you may have seen, or some of you, well, let me ask the audience actually before I go on. How many of you here watched the Ninja Trader video filmed on Tuesday in the Ninja Trader Ecosystem Traders Workshop where I was interviewed? How many of you actually saw that? Jacob, nice to see you. And yeah, I'll show you in a minute. That's exactly why you're here. It is different, but not that much different. Damien says, being in the room with Aaron a few times, he's a really good teacher. Yeah, he is very good. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I enjoyed doing it as well, especially when I saw on Thursday that I'm going to have my biggest trade of the week, short in gold, but it was obvious. Yeah, okay, so everyone said, okay, you've all seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's available on YouTube, and it's on the Ninja Trader channel here. Had 56 likes, so hopefully the information in it was reasonable. But I'll put it in the chat area for those of you that haven't got it. But it's available on the Ninja Trader YouTube channel, and it's also available on our website at tradeguider.com. If you go to the front page, you'll see a link to it at the top. So what did I say in that video? Well, if you've seen it, I'm not going to say what I said because I'm going to show you why I said it, but I did say massive move forecast for Thursday. Gold was, and I said a week and a half before that, gold's going to 1700. Many of you commented on that, and I've traded it. And we traded it here through our asset management class, but my personal account, and I'm going to do it again next week. Now, it's nothing to do with a crystal ball, right? Let me just make a point of that. What I'm going to show you now is how to read a chart. So you're now looking at a new piece of software. It's been around for a little while, several months, but we've now repackaged this for the mass market. Smart Center Pro, which is what I use together with this, but I use Smart Center Pro mainly, is $8,000 to own now. That's the current price to own it outright. So that really precludes a lot of retail traders who want to learn volume spread analysis and the VSA method because of the cost. Because we know times are tight, although we do sell a lot of Smart Center Pro software because serious traders want to use that, which is fine. But the problem with it, if there is one, is it's a little bit complicated and complex. So my colleague Grigory Margolin, who's our chief technology officer and expert, a genius in fact, had come up with something. He said, look, Gavin, we have Smart Center Pro. It does everything you need, which it does. We use it in our asset management division. We'll be producing our net asset value in January. We're up, and we will continue to go. I think we're heading up toward. Well, I'm not even going to say because I don't want to. When the results are out, because you say it today, and then you come a month's time, anything can happen. But we are doing well, and we're using two systems. We're using this, and we're using Smart Center Pro. And I say we because there's about 7 or 8 traders that are about to come in that have been trained by Grigory to be part of the asset management division. So let's look at this chart. Now this is classic. It's easy to read. Now I use something called Cargi charts and point and figure charts to project the likely move of price. Price does not just go down immediately. It takes time because the market's fractal. When it's open, it's trading. It goes up, it goes down, it goes sideways. You can make money in all 3 of those situations if you know what you're doing. Now, we have 6 indicators in Trade to Win using our VSA Lite software. Only 6. And we have a set of rules that Aram follows consistently. Now, I use the word consistently because the way to make money in these markets and to make a living from them, as I've done, is to be consistent. The biggest problem traders have is inconsistency. They have 2 good days and they've made 10 grand. They have 1 bad day, they lost 50 grand. You're probably sitting there going, nodding in your head saying, yeah, I know. It doesn't have to be that way. One of the things that we teach in the trading room, and I participate in that room and will be very active the next 4 weeks because of what's going on and what I see what's going on, is the fact that you've got to manage your risk. And Aram is an expert at risk management, as am I. And I won't talk about it today because we'll teach it in the room. But managing risk and letting trades run, i.e. reward, is what will make you a really good, serious, potentially full-time trader. Many of the customers that get involved with TradeGuide, of which there's thousands around the world, tens of thousands in fact, we know by getting feedback from these customers that they've either, if they're failing, they're not following the rules. 99% of the time, if I talk to a customer that's struggling, they A, haven't read the manual. That's very common. B, they've never read the books. Like my book is called, I'm the author of Trading in the Shadow of the Smart Money by Gavin Holmes. That's on Amazon. Had massive upsurge in sales the last 3 months. I have no idea why, but I'm not complaining. I get a royalty check for that. But ultimately, I wrote the book to help the uninformed to become informed, because I firmly believe in life, just like our late Queen of England, and God rest her soul, she was a wonderful queen, is you serve, you give back more than you expect. Yes, money is always important. Helping other people to succeed is what drives me. And the reason I joined the police service was because I hate to see criminals getting away with stuff. So I decided to try and see if I could do something about it. Of course you can't. You're outnumbered. but at least you try. In the markets, however, I can have a lot more success at helping people, and so does Aaron, and so does our whole team, in fact, because we all come from the same belief system, which is we're here to help. And we have tools that we've developed over, well, the company itself, we brought it from Tom back in, well, that's 22 years ago now, but he'd already built the company up over 15 years, so we're about 35, 36 years old. Now, companies in this business don't last that long if they're rubbish. They come, in this industry, people come and go, but we've been around. And there's a reason for that, because we lift the fog off the markets. We tell the truth. The markets are rigged. They always have been. They always will be. Listen to the Ninja Trader interview. Don't take my word for anything. Just listen to the interview. It's had a major impact on many people. I've got more emails from that interview than I've ever had. I can't cope with them. My wife's answering them. Mary Bednall's answering them. We've got people answering them because it struck a chord. It resonated. Because traders that lose money often give up just when they're right on the edge of success. And it's the same with running a business. Just when a business is on its teetering on failure is the moment when it's going to get successful if you persevere. Robert the Bruce once said he watched a spider climbing up his cell window, and every time it reached near the top, the web broke. And this spider did it for 15, 20 times, kept going up, and then finally it got over and out of the cell. And Robert the Bruce said, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Excuse my Scottish accent, but it's a true point. If at first you don't succeed, try again, because there's no such thing as failure, even in trading. The first trade that I made with Tom, I lost £5,000. And I thought, what a waste of time this is. I might as well just not bother. But if it wasn't for Tom, I probably would have given up. But now I wrote a trading plan, which is in effect a life plan, and said what I was going to do. And what I said I was going to do 20 years ago, I've achieved nearly all of it. There's a few more bits to do because I'm focused. I understand what makes successful people. I also understand what makes losers. And that's why I know what we're about to show you for not a lot of money can get you on the right path, because there's a support system that goes with it. One of the problems I think we've always had is the support, don't get this wrong, not the support technically, but the support for traders who've got problems trading, because we're not allowed to give trading advice. We're regulated. So we can't just say, oh, you should do this and you should do that. We can show you the chart, which I'm about to explain to you. So Dr. Aaron came in and was he's Richard Bednall, my business partner, one of his best friends, and he took to it like a duck to water. Immediately, he followed the rules, because as a doctor, you have to follow some rules. So, some of the best traders in the world come from rules-based systems, but also some of the worst traders in the world, I have to say, comes from rules-based systems. Because remember, trading is not like flying an aircraft, for instance. When you fly an aircraft, you've got a checklist, and every time, if you follow it properly, the plane should take off. But in trading, you're dealing with risk and you're dealing with uncertainty, and you won't be right 100% of the time. I'm not. Tom used to say to me, he said, Gav, when I do, when I call a trade and stuff, he said, I'm not right 100% of the time. I said, well, he said, no, but I'm 99%. And he meant it, because I saw him trade. I saw him calling trades, teaching people. And if he said the S&P was going up one day, it would go up. If he said the S&P is weak and it looks weak, it would go down. Now, this is an example that I'm showing you here in the Trade to Win Trade Guide Lite version. All right. And this is gold. Now, you're seeing, I just want you to focus on these two indicators here, and then I'll get Aaron to tell you what's going on here. But this is a weekly chart. Now, remember, with this particular version of the software, you can't click on the dialog box. There's no dialog box on there. It's just telling you PS. Now, it comes with a manual. Please read the manual. Please read it. This is potential hidden selling. And by the way, just for a second, don't worry about a manual actually, because Aaron teaches this in the room 4 days a week, 4 hours a day, and it's archived so you can go back and look at it. So if you're a full-time person who's not available during trading hours, as Aaron will explain to you, it's all taught, because Aaron is not just a trader, he's an educator, and he's damn good at it. And I have to say, I love to educate as well, but listening into Aaron and the way he keeps repeating the rules over and over again, I think to myself, Aaron, I heard that yesterday, I heard that the day before. Correct. Repetition, repetition, repetition. What makes great golfers? Repetition. Rory McIlroy, repetition. I just read an article last night on Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the world. They have regimes where they get up and they do the same thing over and over again every single day. And they get on the court, they repeat it, and he's the greatest basketball player that ever was and ever will be. He's retired, obviously. So this is what traders do. This is what I learned to do with Tom. And we've now brought this Trade to Win program to the mass market. We anticipate at the moment, with current projections, we could have 2,500 users by Christmas, by the end of the year, on a monthly billing or a quarterly or yearly billing cycle. This is something that's strengthened our business model exponentially, because it's not a one-off thing, it's an ongoing thing. And as long as people are making money, they're not going to give up on it. Our retention rate, just since we launched the VSA Lite, is 78% retention, which is massively high. And that's all in our new business plan, which we've got, which we are selling some shares in the company in Gibraltar. There's 5 available, 5 shares. And that's the end of it before we go public next year. And I'll let you know at the end if you're interested in seeing the revised prospectus, which all of our investors will be getting as well. If you're an investor in here, we've had to relook at the figures, because actually this wasn't factored in when we did the original investment 2 years ago. So the shares have already gone up in value quite considerably. But when we factor in the numbers with this company, TradingView, that it's a great platform, by the way, and it's inexpensive. You can actually get it free as well. But I'm using the premium version, which is like $400 a year or something. I get all the data, live data, intraday from all the exchanges, all the stocks. So it's a really inexpensive way for potential traders or existing traders to get involved. And it's slightly different in the way that we structure the actual alerts or the entries than the Trade Guider program. Both do, and they're both based on the same thing. So we haven't changed anything. It's all based on the Wyckoff method, volume, spread, analysis. So Aaron, let's bring you in here. So this is the reason I forecast gold was going to 1,700. Now, there is a set of rules that go with this. Let me just find the document, and it's called the Trade to Win strategy. And this document is available for free, so you can all see it. And you can see here, we've got everything starts with massive volume followed by low volume. So it's all very basic, very simple. And obviously we've got a disclaimer in there, and Aaron will talk you through this. But there is a 5-step plan. So this is not something you're going to have to read a whole book of 180 pages to figure it out. You can get this in 1 hour. 1 hour. How do I know that? Because I've got some students, I do mentorship courses, and I'm stopping those shortly. But one particular student, who's not in the room today, but she said, I really don't have time to learn. And I thought, well, why do you want to trade then? You've got to. She said, I want to retire and trade, but I don't have time to learn. But I know I need to learn before I take the step. I said, well, you just told me you don't have time. He said, yes, Gavin. She said, so what have you got that I can do quickly? And I said, well, luckily for you, because it was 6 weeks ago, we are launching a new program called Trade to Win. And it only will take you an hour to figure it. And then the only thing I can't give you is practice. You have to do that for yourself. But if you practice, and you only need to do it an hour a day on a 1-minute chart, which is what Aaron uses sometimes, you've got a demo account with NinjaTrader. You've got a demo account. I think it was with Capital Markets or Active Trades, one of the two. So she's got the Forex and she's got the futures. And it's demo trading. She's proved it to herself. She said, this works. I said, of course it will work, but you've got to prove it yourself. I can't tell you, because some people will not follow this. They just will not follow it. So let's go back to that gold chart, and then we'll bring Aram in. And he's got a quick presentation to show you why. But let's talk about a setup, because I'm going to give you 3 setups at the end. And again, we've only been going half an hour, so we've got about another 45 minutes. Aram, welcome to the webinar.
Yep, it's good to be here, Gavin. Thank you.
Right, so let's get straight to it. So just a bit about your background and how you got involved with Trade Guider and how you've become the person that runs a live trading room.
Well, I was a medic in the past, and I say past because I retired now for 6 years. I met Richard, you know, I was in the process of retiring, and Richard, of course, as we all know, is a good friend of mine.
Yeah, Richard
and,
Bednar,
Richard Bednar, yes.
Yeah.
So, and what happened is that we had a discussion in regards to, I said, I want to do something with my life. I just don't want to be hanging around doing nothing. And he introduced me to what at that time was the Center Pro version, because we didn't have the VSA Lite in place at that time. And I basically just learned the techniques, read your books, read many books in the process. As a doctor, you know, you want to read a lot, but as a doctor also you want to have theory as well. Not only the theory, but also want to put it into practice, and that's what I did. And of course, you helped me out as well many times, which is I'm very grateful for. And really took off from there, really.
Now, when you looked at a market going up, and I said to you, right, this is a potential short to sell, you probably thought I was mad initially. I remember you were there at the London Banking Hall, weren't you, when I did that presentation to several hundred traders and investors in London, in the city?
Yes, yes.
That's on YouTube. And you, when I was talking about the BP oil spill, and I said that was the greatest time to buy. And it's funny because Royal Dutch Shell was a great buy a few weeks ago, a few months ago as well, when they said oil was going to crash. Quite funny. This is before the Russian invasion, by the way. The oil was falling, and then suddenly that happened, and it was a great buy. But it does seem counterintuitive when we say weakness, when it appears on an up bar, which is a price bar that's closed higher than the close of the bar behind it. But we can see what's happened to gold. And I didn't have a crystal ball. I had this. This is my crystal ball. And it's right in front of you. And in the Lite program, which we're using for Trade to Win, it marks the top of the bottom of that bar. And I use the weekly chart as my biggest time frame. So Aram, did that confuse you at the beginning when I said if oil's been going up or gold's been going up or the S&P, it goes up and up and up and up, and then suddenly a big volume surge spikes like this, and everyone who missed out at the low starts to buy at the top? Did that surprise you when I said that's a great short? Because I know many people I teach, when they first encounter this, they go, no, that's volume, that's buying volume. Look, the price went up. But I'm going to show you in a minute, ladies and gentlemen, that's a load of rubbish. What did you make of it, Aaron, when you first saw it?
Well, initially, when you actually get into trading, you feel that, you know, you want to be, you know, when you see a buying bar, you're thinking it's going up, so you're going to be buying. So, you know, if you think about it, everybody wants to basically go into the trade when they see a, you know, an up bar, and they just want to enter and buy. But what's so great about the VSA methodology is that it gives you an idea of when that high point is going to collapse, and having the relative volume in place, and also having those indicators or the principles that we have, it gives you a cutting edge, really. And so when I actually did read about it and read your book about, you know, all of these principles, it made sense to me that yes, you have to sell at the top and buy at the bottom. It makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, totally logical. And by the way, Grigory's in with us. Grigory, hi. I've just tried to make you an organizer, but I can't. I don't know if you're listening on your phone rather than your computer, but if you are by a computer and you can log in, I can't make you a presenter, unfortunately. I've just tried. But anyway, Grigory's in. He's our Chief Technology Officer and absolute expert. Just bear with me a sec, Aaron. Just talk everyone through this. My wife's on the phone. Just talk everyone through that setup, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got what we have is a potential professional selling, which is an indicator as a PS, has been confirmed with a down bar. Okay, so anything on the VSA Lite, I guess, confirmed has to be obviously it gets a dark color. It doesn't like if you can see the no demand on the right chart, there is a no demand that has appeared but hasn't been confirmed. And that's why it's not highlighted as is a sort of like a shade sort of a no demand. And then once you get this chart coming down and you get a no demand, that's not an entry point, even though the no demand has been confirmed. On the hindsight, you say, well, it's going down, but the correct way of entering this trade is when you have a change of behavior below that trigger line, and that is your entry point in combination with your no demand and PS that has been confirmed. That would have been your first entry point, and for 2 weeks after that, you would have seen the bars have continue going down. Then obviously you position yourself by bringing if you have a stop loss, which you should have as a trader, bring that into a profitable area where you can add to your position as you go along. This is something I show in the room regularly. Now, as you can see, it's gone back up again where you got the not highlighted no demand. The second entry point again would be when you actually got the down bar after that no demand, the last no demand that hasn't been highlighted on the right of your chart. You can see a down bar coming down, and that is when you could actually re-enter the trade as well. So there's 2 entry points on that chart. Therefore, you could see the market is going down, and therefore you could make a good profitable trade on those 2 entry points.
Just quickly, Aaron, David's asked a good question, and I can tell you that, David. When does the signal like the potential selling appear? On the close of the bar. On the close of the bar. It doesn't require confirmation, David. It's on the close of the bar. So it's immediate. So I saw this as soon as that closed on the Saturday, that appeared. Same here with the no demand bar. But with no demand, I always like to see the next bar close lower. And I'll explain to you why. Aaron, is it all right if I explain that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, and then you can talk about the trading room. But it's very simple. As I said in the Ninja Trader interview, the markets move on universal laws. There's never changed. We all hear all the time, especially in oil, about supply and demand. Even on the news, even on the BBC, they say, well, there's OPEC have met and there's a lot of supply, or OPEC have met. There's we're running out of oil. It's been complete rubbish, right? So I don't take any notice of the news anyway. But then I do take notice of supply and demand, followed by 2 other universal laws, and that is cause and effect. And in this case, in PS, the thing effort versus result, and it's very logical. It's not rocket science. And when these appear, which they will do on a weekly chart in stocks, futures, forex, I already knew that this was going to fall because the volume here has not been replicated anywhere. Well, it's still not there. The equivalent volume to the downside has not happened. But look at where the low is. There. And what are the chances it's going to come with that selling and that no demand? It's going to come there. I knew that weeks ago. So did our asset management division. So I said it on Tuesday. I said, Thursday, there's going to be a massive move. in the markets, which there was in all markets. And it was because of what was going on up here. As the market was trying to rally into this old area of congestion, it was going up. But look at the volume. This is why VSA works. Look, it's inversed. The markets are going up, the spreads or the ranges of the bar are narrowing, and the volume's diminishing because the professional money have sold and got no interest. Professional selling, or potential hidden selling, as we call it, followed by no demand, no interest. Price collapses for weeks and weeks. And Tom taught me a very valuable lesson, which I'll share with you today. He said, Gav, this is what he used to call me Gav. He said, Gav, when you're in a trend goes on a lot longer than you think it will. And I said, oh. And he said, Gav, do you know that the Hunt brothers manipulated the silver market when I was trading back in the 80s? I said, no. He said, yeah. He said, look at the price of silver, Gav. I said, well, what about it? He said, it's never gone above $50 since, well, never. I said, don't be silly, Tom. We got inflation. Of course it has. You know, and I haven't looked at the chart. And so I said, no, that can't be right. No. So, silver must be, let's have a look. So I said, what was it trading at back in the 80s? And he said, well, it was $49 it got up to. So I said, hold on a minute, that can't be right. Silver's now at something like $25 or something. But then he said, well, type into Google. This is exactly what we did. I said, okay. He said, go on. He said, you don't believe me? So you go, okay, let's go and check, because I always, you know, verify and check. That's a good idea. And sure enough, there's plenty of articles on it. Silver's never gone above 50 because it's highly manipulated. And the Hunt brothers cornered the silver market back in the 1980s, made an absolute fortune, then lost it all. Now, how could it be that silver has never gone above $50 if it's not being manipulated? Well, it couldn't. Now, you can see about this, right? That you can see it on the chart. There's about to be a massive move in silver. I'm just telling you. I'm not going to say when it's going to happen, but there will be. Now, they cornered the markets. They had the money. When Tom was trading stocks, they cornered 8 stocks because they had the money. There are players out there with billions and billions of dollars. So when you look at any of these instruments, you know, whether it's gold, and we've got this, but I'm just going to go through a few more with you in a minute. But before I do that, when we rebranded this Trade to Win, here was the logic behind it. Number one, affordability. Okay, for the masses, not for the, you know, the high net worths or the people that, you know, can afford $8,000 at drop of a hat. We've got those on our database. We've got many customers, many of them in this room, high net worth individuals who trade big size in the markets and full-time traders. But more recently, I've been teaching my 2 sons, my eldest and my youngest, to trade. My eldest is 23, Nathan. He works in the City of London. He works for Aviva, the insurance company. He's done brilliantly. But he came to Gibraltar, to our offices out there, and he brought a friend. We sat down for a week. He said, I want to learn to trade. And he said, he said, Dad, how do we do it? I said, well, have you read my book? And he had. And I said, what do you think? He said, couldn't make head or tail of it, Dad. I said, oh, great, thanks, son. He said, no, seriously. He said, I understood a lot of it. He said, when I read chapter 9, you talked about the law of attraction. What's that all about? I said, well, it's about belief. It's about belief. That's it. It's you know, I'm reading a book at the moment called The Source. Great book. And it's about your connection to create things. I said, if you don't believe you're going to make money in the market, guess what happens? You won't make money in the market. If you believe you can, you can. But if you believe you can't, you can't. I believe that was Henry Ford. But whatever the statement is, your belief system governs your outcomes in life. And in trading, it's very true. You've all probably listened to me on YouTube or, you know, doing this stuff. The one thing I do have is a very strong belief system that what Tom taught me is the truth. Is there such thing as truth, especially in the world we live in now, where we've got fake news and social media? Well, I like Tom's analogy. He said, Gav, the chart doesn't lie because it can't. Right? You can look at the talking head on the TV saying gold's going to 2,500, and Goldman says this, and so says this, and this big fund are doing this, and Elon Musk is shorting Bitcoin. All of this stuff. The chart doesn't lie, and that is the truth. You can see it here. So, Aaron, in your trading room, you've got a big following in there. You're doing it via YouTube, right? So you don't have to download anything. You just log in via the YouTube channel. And well, first of all, let's go through this. You put together a 3-point PowerPoint, very quick one here, just to talk about what you teach. So let's go through it. And I'll hand over to you right now. So, Aaron, trading room. It's now part of the Trade to Win offering. It's packaged in. You don't have to, if you don't want to have the trading room and you just want the software, there is the option for that, by the way. It's less expensive, obviously, if you do that route. But for the price we're charging for Aaron's time, which is, he's giving 4 days a week, and sometimes, Aaron, you overrun, don't you? And sometimes there's nothing happening and the room closes a bit early because we trade what we see. And I'm going to be very active in the room the next 4 weeks, especially trading the asset management account live. So you'll see it. So, Aaron, I'm going to hand over to you. This is your presentation bit. So I'll go and get
Yeah, absolutely. It's basically I'll just put this presentation together just to have some bullet points of why you should be joining the live trading room. Now, as you can see, we want to be able to get everyone to focus on trading, because you're going to be trading on a daily basis. If you want to be focused on it, so that the actual live trading room provides that. Because you will be, you want to really be part of a group of people who want to be trading. And I've got numerous of people now in the room that actually focus on trading for 4 hours, sometimes longer, sometimes less, as Gavin rightly said. So it all depends what's happening. But that focus is very important. I think that's something that people need to understand. You want to learn to trade correctly. You want to learn you've downloaded the software, and okay, you can't be bothered to read the manual, or you don't want to read the rules. Well, that's what you come into the room and you ask questions on a live chart. And you can ask me any question you like, and I can go ahead and answer them to you. You can increase your self-esteem. What do I mean by that? It's basically gain confidence, because believing in yourself, in what you're going to do, it doesn't matter what you're going to do in life. If you don't believe in yourself first, you're not going to be successful. So you need to be very, very, somebody who's focused and can, and that's what this room does. It builds up your self-esteem. Now, be part of a trading community. So we've got WhatsApp group. We have got, chat area in the room as well, which you can log into your client area. You can put question in, you can put your charts in. And I got a lot of people who actually put their charts in. And then I had also some people who can come in and I can give them the mic and they can explain why they took a trade and whether it was successful or whether it was not successful. And if it was successful, why? And if it wasn't successful, why? And we learn from it. The process of learning. This is what the live trading room is about. Now, you're also going to learn about how to read charts daily. So I go over the charts on basically from a daily chart right to the 1 second chart, believe it or not. And I explain exactly what's going on in any particular instrument. So you can go ahead and ask me any particular chart that you're interested in, any particular instrument you're interested in, and I can go ahead and explain that and analyze that for you. Now, improve your trading methodology. What does that mean? You might say, well, I've been trading for the last few years and I've been doing okay. Well, great, but there's always room for improvement. As I see in my own methodology, as always, on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, I improve my methodology. So by doing the room, being part of that room, you can get focused and you can continue improving your methodology. And also learn to trade multiple time frames. And that's what I said earlier on. I cover from daily chart, zoom in to the 1 second chart and explain exactly what's going on in a live trade. Now, Gavin, if you can put the next page for me, please. There you go. Now, learn how to follow VSA methodology rules. You don't want to read the manual? Fine. There's no problem. You come in the room, I teach you the rules. I will show you the rules on a daily basis. And I will continue doing that repeatedly over and over again. I never get bored with it because, for me, it's something that you need to hack in your head, and that is the rules. The rules has to be in the first thing that you need to learn is the rules, and that's how I show in the room how to follow the rules. Now learn how to enter, when to enter a trade, okay? This is very important. The entry point of your trade is vital, and your exit of the trade is vital. So I also teach you how to exit a trade. I also teach how to manage your trade. While we're taking a live trade, I will show you how to bring your stop loss into a profitable area. Okay, and I've got some friends in the in the trading world who will tell me that most brokers aim for your stop loss. Well, this is the reason I bring my stop loss into profit. And at the end of the day, if they aim for it, I haven't increase my the trade, but I'll make a good trade. I'll make a profitable trade. Doesn't matter if it's $1, £1, or £100 or $100, whatever it is. You want to make a successful trade. And to say that, to add more, sometimes I do 20, 30 trades in a day. Sometimes I do 2 or 3. It all depends on how the movements are that's what the live trading rule is about. And also learn to trade with real money. I know there is a lot of psychological aspects there. A lot of people use this demo or simulation to do trading, and they put in a lot of not much effort of psychologically, because it's not real money. With real money, which I do, I will get rid of those psychological behavior that most of us have, and all those negative thoughts can come in your head. I basically diminish that for you by try to show you that even if I lose money, I don't get angry about it, and I don't get upset about it. I just get on with it, and I even laugh about it in the room. And
Yeah,
it's
Aram, I don't.
No, but this comes down to, Gavin, it comes down to how you see, that's how the live trading rules about, is to manage your account, manage your risk taking. And you have told me in the past that I'm not a good risk taker, but but I do it correctly in a way that even if I make 10% of my total fund per month, that to me is a very good management, personally. So as long as you're in profit, and you can see my numbers on the website, if you bring it up, you can see the numbers, and and everybody can see in the live trading room that how I manage my trades, and this is what the live trading room is about, really.
Yeah, and it works, and I, the thing is, I'm the same as Aaron though. I am risk averse as well. I do the same thing. I'll give you details of how you can be involved with this. That's fine. But let me show some charts first. A couple of things, because a lot of people here want to see what's about to happen, and I promised you that, and I will do that next. But ultimately, Aram is right. One of the things that we do, we're trading a live account. We're showing the results. It's a small account at the moment. It's going to go up, and my account that I will be trading is a sizable account. I don't want to discuss it publicly, but it doesn't matter about the size, by the way. It doesn't matter whether it's £1,000 or £10 million. All right, the principles, they don't change. The market doesn't know. The only time the market knows, of course, is when you put the order in. If you're trading 10 million and you put 100 lots in gold short, not that I've ever done that, of course, but let's say I did, because you're going to have to look at the charts and say, why wouldn't you do something like that? If you get into a profitable situation and your stops at break even, doesn't mean you're going to get filled at break even, by the way, depending on what happens. But if you start to lock a profit in, Tom said to me, if you're in a winner, let it run. Don't look at the bottom line and say, well, I made 50 million or 100 million or whatever. But the big banks don't do that. They let them run. So you're trading a $5,000 account and you see a $500 profit that you can take off the table without any logic other than, crikey, I just made 10%, I'll take it. And then you take it, you think, great trade. And you see the thing continuing to go. But at the end of the day, you calculate, I could have made $3,000 on that trade. It happens all the time. This is what the psychology, there is a psychology to it, is, traders tend to cut their winners too soon and let the losers run. And it's human nature. No one likes to be wrong. They'll teach you the complete opposite. Cut your losers down quickly and let the winners run. And Tom, if you've ever listened to interviews with him, they're on YouTube. When he was teaching me, he would say, Gav's going to make a very good trader. Why? Because he cuts his losses quickly. Not the first trade I ever took, by the way. I let that run. That was my bad lesson. But then, when he's in a good trade, he puts the stop to break even, lets it run, and sits back and relaxes and lets it run. And that is a key part of trading. Now, let's get back to the charts and then we'll take questions. So one of the things about the package here is, and this is probably one of the most important things to learn, is it doesn't just apply to, this applies to every instrument that you can trade that's got volume. But let me pick out for you now a few things to show you that you can write down and say, right, if this happens, then like it did on the big move in gold last week on Thursday, let's have a look at some other charts that you should be putting on your radar. Gold is obviously one of them. Now, the next one is the British pound futures. Now, this is, again, it's a daily chart now. And the pound made its biggest low against the dollar for 37 years on Thursday. How did I know that? Well, look at what happened. Behind me, this is when I did the Ninja event. Okay, here. All right. So you can see, okay, that on this day, we had a widespread, in fact, I think it was, yeah, that's the day I did the Ninja event here, right on here. And I'll break this down for you and show you why I thought the pound would have a very big move on the Thursday and indeed again on the Friday, which it did. So it went from there at the top at 1.549, 1.1549, all the way down to the low of 1.3. I mean, that's a 200-point move, or pip, whatever you want to call it, but point move. But then look, let's break it down. So first of all, what's the trade setup? Let's alert, and you can get alerted to these. Look at the volume on this bar. Remember, here supply has to be overcoming demand back here in June. That's why the pound continued to decline. So this is a daily chart, but you can trade in here, in this bar, or all the way down, which is what I did. Then it went into a corrective mode. But once it broke the low of that bar, the next signal you look for is something called no demand. And that's a volume bar as it tries to rally towards the low of the selling in the background. And it works on a daily, weekly, even monthly chart. You could put this up monthly. It would look similar. And here, we follow all the rules for a swing trade. Here is the breach of the low of the sellers, and it goes up. But look, I hope this is big. I hope that you can see this. But the best part of this is the fact that we can teach it on a day-to-day basis. And Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is all recorded and put on the channel so that anyone that subscribes that can't make the room live can go and look at it in the evening or the morning or whatever that's convenient for them to learn, and they can scroll through if they need to. If they don't, if nothing's happening, they can scroll to when the trade is so you can see it. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely correct. It's all archived, and you know, it's updated on a monthly basis. So it's something that they could go ahead and have a look at their parity rate as they wish whenever. I've got actually a lot of people in the room, at least 10, who actually do not attend live sessions because they can't. So they're asking me, were they looking at the archives and then send questions, email me questions and things like that. So yes, you can.
One a good friend of mine, somebody that I met at a mentorship called Jamie, is in the room here. So he says, I think we're going to hear lots of lower earnings reports this month that will send stocks tumbling. Hold on, Jamie, I'm just going to get the crystal ball. Just give me a sec, I'll tell you. I don't know, Jamie. It's the truthful answer, but you may be right. We'll see. We're going to look at some stocks in a minute, and you may well be right. But again, what we do, Jamie, you know this, we trade what we see, and we don't anticipate that earnings are going to have an effect, because if they're bad earnings, often the market will go up first. That's the problem. And thank you for your order, sir. I just saw it. Thank you. We're getting quite a lot of people coming in now. Now, the next thing to keep in mind is it doesn't just work in futures or forex; it works in stocks as well. Now, I'll just go through a few more charts for you. That is a trade setup that we can trade in a small time frame. So if I go down to a 4-hour chart, all right, we can see here we got two no demand bars right next to each other, and that caused exactly what happened, which I forecast anyway, the big decline. Okay, and you can see it here. Okay, and then over here the same thing happened on the 4-hour. It's a 4-hour bar. Next bar closed lower, confirmed another collapse. That's the 37-year low. All predictable. Go to another one, the euro. Okay, now even more predictable here on the 5-minute chart was what happened at the end of the day yesterday. Look at the volume. Again, this is volume spread analysis. This is not technical per se. Listen to the Ninja Trader video I filmed on Tuesday. If you're listening to it on YouTube, it's on the tradeguider.com website. Listen to what was said. Listen to the knowledge that was imparted. It was, you know, I'm very blessed to have that knowledge. Tom would always say to me, Gav, I'm going to teach you this and you'll have this knowledge with you for the rest of your life. That is true. And I consider it a blessing because I love what I do. And I know Aram's the same. Aram's right. He's retired. He doesn't want to be sitting there twiddling his thumbs. I don't think I'll ever retire. I remember the late David Weiss, who I work very closely with. He never retired. He said, I love this. And because if you're doing a very manual job, like a builder or something like that, there are certain things you cannot do when you get past 55, 60. But one thing we can definitely do is still read a chart as long as we've got our eyesight. And Tom, unfortunately, towards the end, lost his eyesight, which is why I was so valuable to him over the latter years, because I could read the chart for him and it helped me. So he had macular degeneration, so he could only see outlines of the bars. So I would have to describe each bar to him. And that's what allowed me to write my book, because as I described it, he told me what was happening. He said, you know, here, let me give you a little analogy. Imagine I'm sitting there next to Tom, and suddenly what we've got is he would put up, he said, Gav, give me 15 bars. Well, I'm not going to give you 15, but he said, right. So is there any high volume around, Gav? Oh, especially ultra high. Yeah, Tom, we've got a bar here. Very high. It's in the salmon coloured area of our relative volume histogram, which is all built into TradingView, by the way. It's our proprietary system. And it's massive. Right, Gav, where did the price close? Oh, Tom, it closed right in the middle. Oh, what was the spread like? It's pretty wide, actually. Not massively wide, but it's definitely fairly wide. Right. Okay. What happened on the next bar, Gav? It closed lower than the close of that previous bar by quite a way. They're selling. Well, how can you know that, Tom? Well, think about it. Cause and effect. It's a universal law, Gav. Oh, really? Yeah. If that was all buying in this massive volume surge up, where you said most retail traders, Gav, would be going long up there, I said, oh, Okay, why? He said, because they've seen the price rising for an hour. Boom, boom, keeps going up. He said, now, if you see big spikes like this and the market fails to respond to it like it did here, it's not ready to turn yet. But if you look at a bigger time frame, like a 15-minute chart, you'll see it very clearly. I said, okay, but now we want to look for some no demand. Right, okay. So we can go down a time frame. Aram goes down to a 1-minute chart, okay? Very small time frame. And if I put out a lot of bars up here, you can see where the selling happened up the top. You can see the volume, and you can see the decline over a period of an hour. That's why Aram uses the small time frame, because he can get in the trade much quicker. Much quicker. So there's nothing wrong with that. And don't argue with the volume. It's there. Look, it's got a big signal on it. Potential hidden selling. But because the volume was so exceptionally high, it caused the big rally to down, or the big move down on the euro, in fact, here, all the way down to here, where it went into congestion. But now look what happened at the end of the day. You've got a very congested area. But tomorrow, sorry, Tuesday, Monday, it's a national holiday here in England for the Queen's funeral, but the rest of the markets are open. If it resumes below here, you've got a lovely trade to the downside. But I like to use a 15-minute chart because it gives a nice big picture. And you often find on a 15-minute chart, it picks the very top, and there it is. This isn't, no one's going to argue. You know, as I say, I always imagine as an ex-police officer, you know, when they used to call in Detective Holmes, Holmes, like Sherlock, it always got a good laugh, like, where's Watson to back you up? But it doesn't matter. I always imagine that when I'm presenting to you on YouTube or listening on the live stream here, that you're the jury and I'm just giving you the simple evidence. And I'm either right or wrong, or I'm lying. But I can tell you the chart doesn't lie. That's professional hidden selling, followed by a closing price on the low. The effort to push up the result was a close on the low, and it fell all the way down here over the next 2 hours. Can you make money in that? Well, if you can't, you're a poor trader. What you need is the belief system, the support system, and the charting to prove that you've got it right. And we give you all of that now. We've always done that. But the price point has been too much for some people. When I've done demos, when I used to do them years ago, and we used to sell Smart Center Pro at $15,000. And the first week that we launched, we set 28 sales almost immediately, because the people who bought it had already been using our other software for 20 years. So they know it works. They wouldn't use it if they didn't. And then we go forward. Royal Dutch Shell, okay? In the asset management division, we bought it. Why did we buy it? We bought it here on the low, and there's a test. And it's in the right place because they started accumulating, which is in my book. Again, Trading in the Shadow, you'll see what this is. This area here is called accumulation. It happens all the time, and that's why it went up. You know when to buy here? If you want to be safe, you be patient, and wait for the breakout. But I didn't. That test was perfectly reasonable. Okay, and you can see why. And then we move forward through some of the charts. The Dow, we've got all of these that we can look at. NASDAQ, Bitcoin. Okay, there's your hidden selling. There's no demand after it. It's all the same. This is the 12-hour chart of coin. Okay, now coin is accumulating. I know it's accumulating, but it's not ready yet. If we put the daily chart up of coin, I've got a clear delineation of where they've accumulated in the background. And coin, this is the Bitcoin versus the US dollar. It's gone sideways for months. This is a classic, again, example of what I call the saucer. Put a nice handle on it, right? This is an effort to accumulate at very low prices. It could even go down another leg, actually, because the markets work on very simple rules. You buy high, you buy low, and sell high. But most retail traders do the very opposite. Crude oil. I've been talking about this. I mean, this has been going on for a long time. This is a 4-hour chart. There's been multiple examples in this downtrend of no demand, no demand, no demand. No demand is very simple. Crude oil is not strong. But if you were to switch on your TV and look at energy prices, you'd be told, actually, crude oil is going to the moon. It's not, never has been. It went from 120 to 80. And that's a 4-hour chart. Again, this is something I'll be trading next week in the room. This is a stock that we're short on in the asset management division, Wyckoff Williams. And it goes up into the area of where the support level was. And that support level on the daily rallied the stock for a week. So that indicator here is completely correct. Nothing wrong with it. Has to be right. Ultra high volume, closing off the bottom of the bar, next bar's up. So for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days it goes up, but it never penetrates the top of the bar. And this is an up thrust. I can read that because I use Smart Center Pro with this system myself, which gives me more indications. It showed there in Smart Center Pro up thrust, but then here it comes back down, and I'm thinking, uh-oh, it's going to collapse. But it doesn't. It goes up, but then it's no demand, and it's come back down. So this is a bit like no man's land, but I'll show you a couple of other charts here, which just reinforce it. This was a short that we took in Tesco, and you can see here, the highest volume on the chart is on this bar, and it's got the indicator on it. And that's a weekly chart. So immediately comes up on my Smart Center Pro scanner anyway, but I could see it. So I thought, right, let's move this down. This is the sort of thing I do. You go to the daily chart then, and you say, right, let's have a quick look. Are we in a downtrend? Do we have any potential hidden selling on very high volume up bars? Yeah, on the daily, there it is. You have a 2-bar reversal, which I know what that is, into the same area, and it collapses. But now, hold your horses, because we've got what could be bag holding. In the Trade Guider program, it's actually showing that. In this system, it says PB, which is potential professional buying. So that is on the radar. Look at the volume. Now, what's the rule? You've got to look at the rules. Okay, and you've got the rules. You can go and download them from the website, tradetowin.com. Right, they're right there. Okay, you come down and you can say, right, what I want to do, well, I've already registered for this, so it says an email has been sent to you. There's no obligation. You can just say, okay, I want to have a look at what the rules are. They're very simple. It's what Aaron uses all the time. But what I want to finish off with is a few, actually, just very quickly. I'm not going to do the E-mini for the moment because there wasn't much going on that. But this is one where we bought this particular instrument and then sold it in Wyckoff Williams. And we bought it down here. Okay. Now, there was a very good reason for it on a smaller time frame, which I haven't got time to go into because I don't want this to be, I want to keep it to an hour and 15. Because I know there's questions coming in and I haven't got to all of them yet, but I will do. Hello, James. Yeah, yes, mate, it is recorded. Yeah, I'll send you the link. And Jeff, I'll look at silver. We can certainly have a look at silver. Yeah, Jeff, just to be clear, with silver today, I was talking about in 1980s, right? It's never gone above 50. But having said that, it's now an area like gold, which is potentially a tipping point, meaning it could collapse. Now, next week on Wednesday in the live trading room, I'm going to focus on gold. Specifically, I'm going to trade it. And I'm going to do it on a Wednesday for a reason. And you'll see when you're in the room. Yeah, no, that's right, Jamie. Good. Okay. Okay, Mohammed, yes, we can. And let me come back to that. So let me just go through the rest of these. So this is where we bought. Okay, it was a very, very obvious weekly chart here, but this is called a 2-bar reversal down here into the same area. So it went up and a trailing stop was used and we got hit here and then it continued to fall, but we didn't short it. But then over here, we got the test and it knocked it sideways. And then all of a sudden, as it went sideways, we began to go up on nice volume, not unhealthy volume. We had this massive move up and now they're testing it. but it's not ready yet. But Fraser's Group is a very interesting one to watch. It's a UK stock, which I think is a very interesting one to look at. And then the other one, finally, that this is, again, I personally traded this in Wyckoff Williams as a short, and I closed it yesterday, funnily enough, because I felt that we're at a tipping point over here where they tested it and it rallied. So I chose to take the profit. But if we look at the setup, it's, again, really simple. Here's your sellers. They try to support it so it marks the bar, never goes above the top. Remember that? And then there's no demand into this bar. So there's too much supply on the bar. It goes up, rejects it, starts to fall, more no demand, a trap, which is there, which, again, I'm looking at this on my Smart Center Pro screen on my left, but it shows the same thing. I can read the bars. I don't need the indicators personally because I read the charts, but ultimately the indicators are very valuable. And then they're valuable really more for the scanning point of view. So you can actually find these as they happen, which is the most difficult part of trading. In hindsight, they look wonderful. You can see that definitely works. Has to. Now, there's a couple of people asked me to look at two things, and I don't want to look at a lot because I want to keep this quite succinct if I can. Let's go to futures actually, and we'll go to the silver futures contract. Just launch the chart. It's very easy, by the way. Okay, so we're going to put up a weekly first. Okay, so we're currently trading around the $20 line. We broke the selling here. You can see it. Now, again, look how long on the weekly chart it took for this to confirm, which is why I knew there would be a big move. Look, there's, demand at the bottom of the bar. But that bar appeared in 2020. You go, oh, Gavin, that's irrelevant. No, it's not. That's where the sellers took control. And I know one of the big players in this. And they're holding it down. This is one of the most highly manipulated instruments after Bitcoin that there is. Gold, of course, is. It's not going up. We're in 2022. In 1985, it was at 49. It's never gone above it. Don't believe me? Fine. Go and look at the evidence. Go to the internet. Go to Google. Say, has silver ever gone above $50 a troy ounce? Oh, no, it hasn't. Gavin's right. Why does no one tell us this? They don't. They don't want it. I tell you, because you can make money at this. If you know demand, there's the upthrust right there. More no demand. There's the upthrust all the way down on the weekly chart. No demand. 23rd of May this year. Collapse. Just look at there's a load of comments coming in. Okay, so right, we'll finish on this one because then I'm going to take any questions. I think it's Mohammed wants to look at Alphabet. Okay, so we'll start off with the weekly. Again, Mohammed, this is how I start my trading week always. So the first thing, Mohammed, you can look at this for me. Do you see any selling in there? And if you do, where do you see it? Okay, nice chart. So Mohammed, where do you see the sellers coming in? And again, this is obvious, but you look at it for me, and you can see the date stamps are at the bottom here. So that there is 27th. So that there is this year. So I'm sure you would agree that in January, the sellers took control. Mohammed, would you just type in yes? Do you agree with that? Or is there, the volume is enormous, the highest we've seen. It closes in the middle, next bar down, signal right on the top. Yeah, and that's how it works. Okay, so I always start with the weekly. And Mohammed, you might want to write down these time frames. I start with the weekly, I then go to the daily, I then go to the 8-hour, 4-hour, and 15-minute chart for stocks. That's it. And I've got it all programmed into Smart Center Pro that I use to alert me when the bottom of that bar has been broken, which was here. Because I'm not interested in trying to short it on that bar. or even you have to wait sometimes months. Well, Alphabet, I'll show. Well, actually, David, I actually didn't trade this, but I can show you where. We go to daily, right, and we go all the way back, and that would be your entry right there. Okay, so I'll just show you. And again, it's all in the rules. Massive volume, potential hidden selling, breaks the low of the bar, goes up, no demand. David, that's it. It's so obvious. I didn't trade that, but I should have, actually. In hindsight's a wonderful thing. I've got my own set of stocks. I've got about 116 that I follow. Alphabet isn't on them, but Apple is. But that's it. And that is a setup. Right now, I'll bring Aram in on this. You trade this on a 1 minute chart, Aram. This is a daily, and it's collapsed. Although, just to warn you, there is potential buyers coming in. So I may be looking at this in the trading room next week for a potential buy because it's accumulating. Look, I'll show you. It's not there yet. You could not buy this now under no circumstances. But look what's going on. You've got your first part of the buying. They bring it down, and this is what accumulation looks like. It's what Tom told me. It's like a snake. But when it breaks out of here, or if you want to be very aggressive, one of the things we do, I mean, I'm a little bit more aggressive than Aram, was if I start to see a rally next week in here, I'll take a very small lot order in there. But instead of trading 10,000 shares, I might only trade 500 or 1,000 and then scale in to the position if it moves in my favor. But that's a good chart. So let me, well, we've overrun a little bit, but I'm not too worried about that because we've given you a hell of a lot of information. Sorry about that. It's too much information sometimes. But ultimately, this event will be posted on YouTube. If you go to trade2win.com, let's just refresh that. This is the new website from the Trade Guide Gibraltar group. And yeah, so basically it's already said me. But if you go to trade2win.com, you'll be able to register here for the trading plan. Now, a couple of you have emailed me. I've just got your email, John. How do we invest in Trade Guide Gibraltar Limited? We've got 5 shares available. That's it. And then it's closed until our public offering in June of next year. Already the shares that we sold 2 years ago are doubled in value. We expect projected what we can't tell, but there's a prospectus that has been produced. It was based on the amount of revenue we're going to generate from this website, which is recurring. So it was not in the original plan, which I think you got. So if you want to get, and this applies to anyone, you can get the prospectus, and we're going to close off the offering. I think it's on Monday. No, sorry, he just said Tuesday night. That's fine. Just email my business partner. His name is Richard Bednall. Okay, Richard Bednall at tradeguider.com. Okay, I'll put it in the chat window for you. I'll spell it actually. Oh yeah, Steve, I got your email and I got yours, Filippo. Yeah. So it's Don't email me because I don't have it. It's Richard RICHARD, Richard B. So B for Bednall. So Richard B at tradeguider, all one word, .com. So I'll repeat that. It's Richard B at tradeguider.com. And just put in the title or in the subject line prospectus. And that's hopefully you could. It's just our vision for the future about where we're going with the company. Many of the people in this room here, we've got 27 investors around the world already from the previous friends and family investment deck that we did 2 years ago now. But we didn't have this in mind at the time. This is something that's been added since. And as I say, looking at what we've got as an offering, it's a mass market offering. This is not a something where we think we might sell 10 a month. Already we're up in our hundreds of subscribers, and with the trading room added to it with Aaron, and Aaron loves doing the trading room. If you go and listen to him in it, you can tell that, you know, having retired as a medical doctor, he's now doing something that doesn't involve him, you know, dealing with patients. Oh, well, actually, maybe it does involve him dealing with patients. I'm not quite sure. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I deal with you sometimes, don't I? So
I'm your worst patient. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's wonderful. It's wonderful because what's so wonderful about trading that every day is not the same. So that's what's wonderful about it, you know. So there's always new thing to learn, new things to do, and improve yourself all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Adeline, to answer your question, if you've already got the Lite program, you can just subscribe to the trading room on its own. You don't need to do anything different. Obviously it's less expensive. If you wanna, I can do something for you. So just email my wife Laura directly, and this goes for anyone because we're always, I own the company, so with Richard, so we're always happy to help. Just email Laura, Laura, at tradeguider.com. That's my wife. So she makes sure I answer the emails. I have to. And then if you've got questions about the investment, I've just seen 2 people asking. Yeah, if you want to talk to me personally about it, the original minimum investment amount was £25,000, John. And yes, and it has gone up to 50,000. But what we've done is done a stock split several weeks ago now. So now the minimum investment is now £10,000, not 25, and you can still have a shareholding. And what that does allow you to do as a shareholder, we're now going to do a yearly, and all of our investors in the room will get this, a yearly shareholders trading meeting where we'll do half a day of updating you and then half a day of live trading. And we're looking to do that in November at the moment at Heathrow Airport. So I'm just figuring out the logistics and the timings, and hopefully there'll be no more pandemics, because we were going to do this last year or the year before, and because no one could travel. But what that entitles to you as an investor is to get the opportunity to test new products that we're currently working on, and obviously to have direct access to the trading team, including the team at Wyckoff Williams. And what I mean by direct access, if you've got a question, you get a priority ticket, okay? And that means that if you're part of the company, we can give you trading advice to an extent. Obviously, we can't give you complete trading advice, but we can look at something you're about to take and give you an assessment and analysis. I mean, at the moment, Grigory is training several of our investors to work in the fund, and it's proving, well, I know it's going to be very successful, but the feedback I've had has been absolutely superb. So we're on the right path, and I expect us to go public on AIM middle of next year is the projected target. But like everything, we were going to do that a couple of years ago, but because of the pandemic and everything, and then just as we were going to do it this year, we had the invasion of Ukraine. You just don't know. So don't take this as it's definitely there. It's not. We don't know, but it is in the plan, and it is there. And once it's public, then it'll be a public traded share. And if you've got in at the beginning, it could be, well, for me, I own the majority shareholding. So this is my retirement fund, basically. I don't have a pension at all. Well, I do have a pension. It's what I've got in the bank, basically. But this is it. This is my pension, the company. And I will not retire. I don't think I'll ever retire. I was asked that by one of my students a few weeks ago. He said, so what are you going to do then? Sell up and retire? I said, no, I will never do that. I'm working on a book at the moment. It's about the law of attraction, which is about belief, and that when times are tough and everything's going against you, which has happened to me many times, you actually, that's the universe telling you, get up. You know, you've got to do something slightly different. You've got to improve. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. It happens to every trader. You will have bad weeks. You'll have bad days. But I'll tell you what, recently I haven't had one, because it's the attitude. It's the attitude of gratitude. It's very straightforward, which is why I love doing these events on a Saturday while all my friends are out and they're all playing golf and going down a pub or whatever. I'm not. I'm sitting here with you because I love it. I love doing this. And at the end of these seminars, the feedback and the stuff I've got off YouTube and that Ninja Trader event, I've been invited back now to do several live events and speaking slots around the world just as a result of that interview. And Tom said to me, and I will finish with this thought, he said, Gav, you've got to write a book. This 2010. I said, I'm not an author. I can't write a book. That was the word he said. I can't write, I can't. And he said, no, you can. No, you can. And I went to sleep that night and I thought, no, I can't. And then I started to figure it out. If you say you can't, you won't. You can't. But then the next morning I was walking, I was up pretty early, 5 o'clock. I remember it very well. Walking down the beach and there was no one around. I was on my own. I looked out to sea and I said, yeah, shall I write a book? And honestly, this is exactly what a little voice came into my head. He said, yeah, trading in the shadow of smart money. My idea. I went straight back. Tom was asleep. I didn't wake him up. But when he got up, I said, Tom, I've got an idea. If I wrote a book, do you think if it was trading in the shadow of the smart money, does that sound good to you? He went, write it. That's exactly what he said, write it. And that's how it's come to pass. So be careful what you wish for. I wrote it and it's opened up massively. It's now in, I think, 7 or 8 different languages. It's been pirated many times, which I don't care about that, because ultimately it shares the knowledge. So, okay, I don't get the royalty payment on it, but you know, people find Trade Guider, they find the software, they now find Trade to Win, and TradingView has 50 million users. We're not even on the iceberg. We haven't even swum to the iceberg. I'd like to say tip of the iceberg. We haven't got to the iceberg yet, but we will get there. Right, I've got a lot of questions coming in. Yeah, yes, right, James, got you. Yes, the investment opportunities for anyone around the world. Yeah, so it's not like it's a it's basically buying a share, if you like. So we issue share certificates. The share is in Trade Guider Gibraltar Limited, which is a limited company. It owns the software, as you can see here. There's a payment that's coming across to the originator of the software that owns the IPR, which is Trade Guider Limited. That's going to be bought out, so that everything, all the IPR, the books, royalties, everything goes through Trade Guider Gibraltar Limited, which is where the investment is. And yet, you can certainly, yeah, it's an interesting one. We've been talking about this. I can certainly, if you email Laura, I'll certainly be able to give you. I'm sure Aaron wouldn't have a problem with this. It's a good question, Aaron. Actually, Ayati says, I have the professional version of the software. Can I join the trading room even if I do not have the TradingView version? You can. There is a fee, but for existing customers, I think we could certainly help you out if you've got Smart Center Pro. But can I suggest you email Laura? Yeah, Aaron, your thoughts?
Yeah, Gavin, just to come in there, yeah, I have got people who are actually using the Center Pro and they have joined the room and they are enjoying it as well, because at the end of the day, the VSA methodology is what it is, you know, and so yes, you can join the room, and as you come along as well yourself, you usually use the Center Pro as well to show people as well. So so it's integrated together, really.
Yeah, well, I'm going to be in the room, as I say, the next 4 weeks. I'm going to be in there at least twice a week. I will be using Smart Center Pro, while Aaron will be using Trade to Win with the VSA Lite program. So you'll see both together and how they complement each other, because there are certain things that Smart Center Pro does that Trade to Win cannot do. Price-wise, you can see why. No, so Mohammed, I'll tell you what I'll do, just to make things very straightforward. I'll put up the email addresses. I'll put it in a Word document. Just bear with me, because that's a couple of people have asked. So Aaron, there's a question for you here. How many trades a week do you? It's coming on an email actually. I think he's just subscribed. How many trades a week on average do you take in the room? That's a very good question actually.
Well, it varies, Gavin, but on a weekly, I would probably say sometimes in a day I've taken 25 trade in one day, and so it all depends on the movements of the actual, of the charts. But usually on average, I would say around 25, 30 trades, more or less.
Yeah, that's what I would say. And for me personally, I take slightly less trades, but I trade bigger size. Let me just put that up. Just bear with me.
I mean, just to add to your thing as well, Gavin. the reason I take that many because I do a scalping regularly, you know, just to show people how to trade. It's, you know, to go in and out, and make profits, you know. So that's why I take a bit more trade, and obviously I do it in a lower time frame as well. So.
Yeah. Okay. So if you've got people are saying they've got questions for me, that's fine. So that's my wife, Laura Woodham Holmes. You've got questions, you can email. If you're two people have asked about Smart Center Pro, you've just done a promotion. Is that still available? Yes. And I happily have a chat with you. Just drop Laura an email, say I'm interested in Smart Center Pro, or I'm interested in Trade to Win, or you can just order from the website. Trade to Win starts at very reasonable pricing. It's $49 to start with. So it's all on the website. I'm not going to go through the pricing. You can do that. I don't have time because I've got to go and pick up my daughter. But yeah, and if you've got Aaron, do you want to just tell them your email if they've got questions for you about the room and they want to join?
Yeah, my email is just aram, ARAM for mother, @tradeguider.com. Very simple.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, what I'll do is I'm just going to swap that over quickly. Just make that a bit bigger. And then so you've got Laura's details there. And there it is. So it's aram@tradeguider.com, and you should be able to see that right there. Okay, so you've got two email addresses. You've got questions. You're interested. Then yeah, that's a good question. Rahul said, can I join and access the archives, the previous ones?
Yes, it's on a monthly roll, so it's you know, you can do it on a monthly. So whenever you join, you can just access the archives on a monthly basis. Yes.
Yeah, hello Stanley, it's nice to see you again. What are the hours of the trading room, Aaron?
The hours of the room is from 12:30 p.m. Right to 4:30 p.m. UK time.
Yeah, Michael, nice to see you. And by the way, we are going to action some of the things that you've mentioned in your letter to us. So I'm sure Richard's going to feed back to you. But should emphasise the Trade to Win is excellent for those with smaller trading accounts. Correct. This is what we've aimed at. As I said, mass market. As I say, projection-wise, I would say by the end of 2023. We could have 50,000 subscribers. That's not unreasonable to project that because of the size and the amount of people around the world that use TradingView because of the costs. TradingView, including data, including the exchange fees and everything. I mean, I've got everything. I can pull up any chart around the world right now. And you go to their website, tradingview.com, you can see. And it's very, very simple and quick to input our studies into TradingView. It's very quick and there's no real support needed at all. You just click a few buttons and you've got it. And then you've got, if you go to Trade to Win, you can register there and you can get the you know, the plan that Aaron uses and that we'll use on Tuesday. So Aaron, I'm going to wrap it up because we've overrun, but anyway, I don't mind.
Just finally, Gavin, there's a question that was saying that from someone who says, hi, I have 2 years VSA Lite on TradingView. How can I add access to Trading Room? Well, you could just go to the website, tradetowin.com, and just go under the tabbing where you've got the actual pricing, and you can subscribe to the Trading Room. So you can add that to your subscription if you wish.
Yeah, right, a few questions come in. Will you have a future plan for people who have different schedules to join the Trading Room? Javier says. It's very difficult. You're dealing with when the markets are active, Javier. So what you can't do is change the schedule because you're trying to trade when the markets are moving, right? We know when the markets move. We know it's 12:30 London session, and we know it's usually around 4 p.m. at the London fix. Now, if we changed it to suit people and say, oh, we'll do it 8 o'clock at night London time, nothing would be going on. You'd all be sitting there going, this is boring. We know when the trades happen because we've been doing it for years. So the room times are not going to change. There's no need to. We've been, how long has the room been open now? 6 months, 7 months, something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, going to 6 months now. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know what works. And again, the room is about making money. It's not about time convenience. It's about money. You know, that's what we want to do. Marcus, does this particular system work with Ninja 8? No, it doesn't, and we don't intend it to because of the way it's structured, and also the algorithms probably wouldn't work. So Ninja 8, I use that, and I'm using Smart or Smart Center Pro, which again, Smart technology is comparatively priced to this, but I use the two together. But that depends on you. Gear says if you wait, yeah, if you wait till Black Friday, you can get the TradingView premium package for half price. So if you want to wait till November, that's fine. But yeah, that's a good point though. Yeah, you should get a USA trading room. Well, we do cover the US session, but we cover the most active part of it, which is in the morning. Now, the problem is, who do you get to do that in the US? And actually, a lot of our money is made, because that's all it's about, between 12:30 and 4:30. Right, Aaron? I mean, that's where the movement is. It's when the London session and the European sessions cross over with the US session. So the US session is on its own. Europe is closed. Asia is closed. Yeah, you've got to look at where the money is. You go. We call our scanners the sniffer, right? The sniffer, and what it does is it's sniffing out the best times to trade. So I get more alerts than any other time of day between 3 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. London time every day. Every time after that I look, nothing happens. Now, I used to live in Chicago, so I used to trade the US session, but when the London session closed, it was dead. It does move, but you don't get the big trends. What we want to trade is the trend and the tops and the bottoms, or the turning points. So that's what we do. And we've been doing it for so long that I know I don't have to sit at a screen for 15 hours a day to make my money. Yeah, and so do I. Yeah, I trade the E-minis as well. And the best time to trade those is just after 8:30 a.m. In Chicago time. So that would be 9:30 New York. And then another between that time for another hour, just as it crosses the London fix. And I hope you know what the London fix is. It's the LIBOR fix, which happens at 4 p.m. London time. Okay, so that's going to be 11 a.m. New York, just before lunch, before they all go and get their lunches. So that's the movement. They're closing. They're going for lunch. London's retiring from the day. That's where you move it. That's where the volume is. That's where the footprint is. That's where the elephant is. That's where we go. We go where the money is. We don't want to sit there for 15 hours. I don't. I've got other business interests, so I can't. I'm running a fund as well, or an asset management division, which I have to look at other opportunities for stocks. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I know exactly who you're talking about there. Yeah, good. All right, Aaron, I'm going to finish up. You've got Aaron's email. You've got Laura's email. Any questions? If you sign up for Trade to Win, now we will put you in for the room on Tuesday. Remember, Monday we don't trade, and actually this Monday it's a bank holiday in the UK for the Queen's funeral. So we will all be not working at that period, but we are working today and tomorrow. So if you order and you need some questions answered, we'll help you. The website is simple. It's tradetowin.com. From all of us at Trade to Win and Trade Guide at Gibraltar Limited, again, we thank you for your time today. And I'll just leave you with these final words. Namaste, and may your God bless you. Take care and bye-bye.